Look out! Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Oh, it'll probably be more than one someone going under the bus tonight. Welcome in. This is a great time of the sports year. Baseball's getting serious. Football's getting started. Tennis. We're going to talk some tennis tonight. Look at that smile on Curry's face. We say, yeah, we're going to talk some tennis. Let's start with college football. And Curry's favorite school to root against, probably Florida State, is probably the biggest story in all of college football. Wow. They got issues, huh?
Bob, before we get to the meat and potatoes of our show, could I pay tribute? I'm going to pay tribute to the epic event in Las Vegas over the weekend when Joey Chestnut.
Oh, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Joey Chestnut faced Taki Kobayashi, first time in 15 years across the slobber table to chow down on some dogs. And Joey's been chasing the 80. I mean, he hasn't had Kobayashi to compete against.
Right.
So he's got these dogs, excuse the expression, in a hot dog eating contest. He's competing against dogs. And finally, Kobayashi pushed him, and Chestnut went to 83, new world record. Beat Kobayashi 83-67 by more than 2 touchdowns. And Joey said afterward, he said, we weren't always nice to each other, but he always pushes me to greatness. So
that's great. That is greatness, isn't it? Eating the most hot dogs.
Oh yeah, they call this event unfinished beef.
Hey, did the question I got for you though, Curry? Did Joey cover? He won by 16.
Yeah, he would have covered.
They're in Vegas,
definitely.
Right?
I think he did cover because I wouldn't have bet that he got to 80. His previous best was 76.
Yeah,
that's in.
So while the over for sure.
Rich, that's in 10 minutes.
That's amazing. I can't eat 3 hot dogs in 10 minutes. I'm alone 80. Yeah. That's incredible.
83. Yeah. Wow.
Well, speaking of throwing up, let's get back to the Florida teams. I mean, if it weren't for Miami, Florida would be off the football map already.
Well, there you go, Florida State with all the transfers, right? You bring all these transfers in. They're giving Dabo a hard time not bringing any transfers in. Look what happens. You bring all these guys in, they can't win. Losing to Boston College, you're a 16.5 point favorite. They get smoked.
You're talking about Florida State now?
Yes, sir. Florida State, yep.
Well, they lost 2 games before the first week was over. They lose in week 0 to Georgia Tech in Ireland, and that was close, but they were outplayed and outcoached. This game against Boston College, you guys, I thought really showed up the difference in coaching.
Yes,
because I don't think Mike Norvell has this team ready. I mean, and as you say, it's a bunch of transfers. A ukulele guy who's his quarterback. He was terrible at Clemson. He was terrible at Oregon State. I don't know why he has him. He's not the answer.
He's not.
He was terrible.
Definitely not the answer. And if they keep him back there, they're going to lose a lot more games than 2.
Well, Bill O'Brien took over at Boston College. He's the former. He goes way back. Didn't he succeed Joe Paterno when they got rid of Joe Paterno?
He was at Penn State. Yep.
Yeah, and then he's been in the pros for a long time.
Correct.
But he had his guys ready. They just ran the ball. The line play was real difference.
Yeah. No, they definitely outcoached them. The same thing the Georgia Clemson game, don't you think? I mean, it was 6-0 at halftime.
I think even with transfers, if Dabo had dabbled into the portal, he's still going to get destroyed by Georgia. Georgia's too good. I mean,
I agree with that. Georgia's a better team, but here's the difference. It was 6-0 at halftime, and Clemson's still in the game, right? 6-0. Here's the difference. At halftime, Georgia's coaching staff worked on the X's and O's, made adjustments, Clemson's
Yeah.
coaching staff went in there and try to motivate the kids. Instead of doing X's and O's, they talked about, hey, we're just as good as they. We can beat them. It was a motivational speech compared to what Kirby Smart did with making adjustments and just kicking their fanny in the second half.
Well,
Rich, you're the
I don't
coach,
think
Rich. Let's throw that back to the coach. You're the coach. Is the motivational speech better, or is the X's and O's speech better?
No. Well, you got to do a little bit of both, Bob. I think you got to definitely, first thing you do is make the adjustments, which they did, Georgia did. And then sure, there's a little motivational thing, about getting your team ready to go out and play the second half. But watching, I mean, I don't know that for a fact what Dabo did at halftime. I wasn't there, but when they came out, they were flat. They didn't make any adjustments. It was
Rich,
terrible.
look at what he's got to deal with. You said yourself, he got nobody from the portal.
Right.
He's going with this. I don't think it's just that though. The players that he does have, which he's recruited and brought through the program, they just aren't as good as advertised.
Well, that's true.
The quarterback Klubnik, who is going to be the successor to all the great Clemson quarterbacks,
Right.
He can't play.
No, he's overrated.
He can't play. Forget about it.
He's overrated.
Yeah.
He gets happy feet. He gets happy feet when he's in the pocket. He really does. Yeah. So, I mean, the first play of the game, they just roll the guy out just to kind of complete a pass, and he throws it at the guy's feet. I mean, it wasn't good at all.
Speaking of unhappy feet, how about going back to Florida? Florida playing Miami. Oh my goodness. This kid Cam Ward, the transfer from Washington State, everybody had heard about him. He was doing terrific. He had a terrific year last year, but I didn't know he was this. Did you watch that game?
Yeah. I watched him some last year, and he's magical. He's really
41-17. Florida was never in the game. His arm angles, his speed and moves and brains.
You know who he looks like? He looks like Mahomes.
He looked like like Mahomes than any of these NFL flashy guys. He was spectacular. And
68 of the Power Four teams, there are 68 of them in the Power Four. 43 of them had a transfer quarterback.
Wow,
2/3, and that Cam Ward being the best of them.
Right.
And
Booger McFarland said on ESPN that he has Cam Ward in New York for the Heisman already. Gets invited. I know a guy that Florida coach. How about what's his name? Billy
Napier. Yeah,
Napier. He's going to get invited out of the swamp probably within a couple of weeks. You know that he has the worst record of any of the three predecessors that succeeded the insufferable Urban Meyer. But Florida is going to be an underdog in all 10 of the rest of their games.
That's crazy.
So he's going to have a fourth losing season, and
he'll be gone. He'll be gone.
And yet
the buyout is $23 million.
Yeah.
26 million to buyout for, but they'll do it. I mean, Gator money. The buyout for Jimbo Fisher was $77 million, and Texas A&M did that. So this guy can't.
Yeah, I would go to them and say, "Give it to me now. Let me go. I'll walk right now."
Well, did you hear him?
And yet the dumbest thing Florida could do is throw him out and start over. I mean, this is the time. He's a good football coach. I don't think anybody. I mean, it was, and everybody thought it was a great hire at the time.
Well, Bob,
he's not a bad football coach.
Well, he hadn't done anything in 4 years, and after the game, one of his quotes was, he said, we'll get better if we don't have to depend on listening to some guy in his basement in Central Florida, rapping on us. That's his fan base, some guy in Central Florida. By the way, there are no basements in Florida. There are no basements in Florida. And that's his fan base. When a coach starts going after his fan base, it's the end.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
and it probably
I'll tell you who their fever dream coach is. Florida is Tim Tebow. How about that?
You think
he'd take it?
That'll be a worse disaster.
Well, how do we know? We know. I mean, Tebow's been great at everything he's done. He was a terrific college player, terrific broadcaster.
What
You know,
level has he coached at? Gator football on Hilton
well,
Head?
I know. Well, you're the coach. You want a resume.
You want a little bit of resume.
Well, yeah. How
You,
about our boy Dion, Dion. Speaking of players, how about this
yes.
kid Travis Hunter?
Hunter, yeah, he's
I
terrific.
mean, I think he played almost every play. He's the best receiver, the best defensive back, maybe, one of the best in both positions. He plays almost every down.
Yeah.
So there's a second guy. There's a second guy to go in for the Heisman in New York.
I
and Cam
think it's
Ward.
his.
Yeah.
I think it's his to lose if he keeps doing this stuff. And still, after when Neon Dan makes a total ass of himself in the press conference afterward, he goes after. He's got this running fight with the media, and he went after again after the win. He said, "Sorry, some of y'all wanted us to lose. You'll have to wait until next week." Well, they play Nebraska next week, so maybe the people that want them to lose will be happy.
How big a game could this be for Nebraska? If Matt Rule comes and beats them, maybe Nebraska's.
Well, Nebraska be favored.
Back to legit.
At home. Aren't they? They're going to be at home, and they're going to be favored.
Yeah,
they'll be favored.
Meanwhile, they have the great freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
Right, Raiola
right,
or something.
Right. And of course, you know what the N in the middle of the Nebraska field stands for? Knowledge.
With that,
Good one, Bob.
I spent too much time in Oklahoma. Hey, one last college football thought I had, other than the fact that the Big Ten went 17-1 in opening weekend. A, that's a lot of games, but B, that's also a lot of wins. How about Nick Saban? Do you guys watch Nick Saban at all?
Yeah, I listened to him. That was great.
On game day
quote.
He was spectacular.
Yeah.
They got rid of the rest of them and just let Nick talk. I learned something, and he had a really good time.
He used some bad words too.
But and see, so he even made Curry happy.
Meanwhile,
our man, he got away with it.
How about the officiating? I still get bothered by the officiating. In two different games I watched, the wide receivers extend their arms and push the defensive back away from them, push away from them, and catch the pass. No flag, absolutely no flag. How do you not see that? I mean, it's incredible that they don't throw the flag on that. If they're allowed to do that you can extend your arms and push the defensive back away from you. I would love to be a wide receiver then. Absolutely. You can catch every pass that way if you can do that. Did you guys see that? It was in the Clemson game was one time, and then I think it was in the Penn State West Virginia game. So
they're letting the receivers push off.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
All the time.
Oh yeah. Big time. They replayed it. It must have been a dozen times, and it's so obvious. And the official's standing there in the corner. I don't know what he's looking at, but he sure didn't throw his flag. It was bad. It was bad. Here's my other pet peeve. Why, when it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, do they keep their quarterback in the shotgun? Why will they not put him underneath the center and either take it themselves or hand it off? But why are they in the shotgun when it's 3rd and 4th and 1? I don't understand that. I probably never will.
Quarterback's chicken.
Well, everything they practice is in the shotgun. How about you have all this time to practice? Put your guy underneath the center. My goodness! Please, somebody do that.
Meanwhile, our boy Mike Gundy appeared again. Did you see his stickers for pay plan got squashed by the NCAA before the game? Said can't wear those stickers. Can't give money to the Oklahoma State players. Meanwhile, in the same game, apparently Oklahoma State had all these technical difficulties on the sideline with their headphones, and they all went out. And so Gundy said afterward, he said, maybe I should get that IT guy from Michigan to come down here and help me out. And of course, he's speaking of Connor Stallions, who, by the way, opened his career in high school at Detroit Mumford by losing 47-6. He's a defensive coordinator.
Maybe the other teams were spying on him. Yeah,
probably so. They probably were.
It could have been. let's take a break. We're already 15 minutes in. I was going to do NFL now. Let's do NFL after the break. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but we're going to set up the season for you and maybe throw a couple of teams under the bus already. As we come back, join us, Bob, Curry, and Rich, sponsored by Hudson's on the Docks on Hilton Head Island. Go there. Hudson'sOnTheDocks.com is the website. Go there. You'll have a great time. Under the Bus comes right back. Welcome back to Under the Bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks on Hilton Head Island. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. NFL Chiefs open the season Thursday night against the Ravens. And then, of course, the traditional Brazilian battle between the who are the Eagles playing? Green Bay?
Green Bay.
They're playing some Brazilian gangs first.
Yeah.
Two teams in green.
The players don't even want to leave the hotel room. You hear that? The players don't even want to leave the hotel room. They say,
"Oh
stay
yeah, well
inside."
they're not allowed. I don't think they're allowed to.
So you fly all the way down and you can't even go outside?
I don't think so.
That's crazy. It doesn't make sense.
Funny things. You taking the Chiefs or the field this season?
I'm taking the field.
Field.
Yeah.
Field.
Okay. Who you got then? You got somebody? Who's going to surprise?
Oh,
who's gonna be there that we don't think is going to be close, at least that we don't see?
I think Tennessee is going to surprise.
Tennessee.
I've been reading about Tennessee. They don't have a lot of players, but I'm surprised that they're a surprise.
They're a surprise. That's a great question, Bob. I don't know.
Arizona as a surprise.
Okay.
With Marvin Harrison and with Kyler Murray back, and they were not bad last year. Maybe or Jacksonville, who was closer, I think, than any of us thought last year. Peterson can coach. He's pretty good.
How about Green Bay? What do you think about Green Bay?
There's some awfully good teams around, though. The LA Rams, and nobody's talking about them. Green Bay, nobody's talking about them. Well, they are really, but yeah. The Eagles, even though it's on Peacock, which nobody can watch, the Eagles against the Packers is terrific game. I mean, that could be a Super Bowl game. It's terrific. Have you guys got Peacock? Oh, Rich,
I have it, but I don't know if I've got enough of it to get the game.
Rich,
you get a lot of free stuff on it.
You only have half a Peacock?
I have half a Peacock.
You have full Peacock, Rich?
I think I do.
You don't even
Cornish
know.
game hand, yeah. Just not Peacock. All right, let's go on. Let's talk a little base. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one NFL passing note, which is an under the bush thing. I'm getting political here, but somebody in Philadelphia had created all these huge green posters of around the city of Kamala Harris holding a football. Did you hear about this? These posters went up all over Philadelphia with Kamala Harris holding a football with the words "official candidate of the Philadelphia Eagles." Huh. Well, it was a hoax. Eagles had nothing to do with it, so they were fake, and the Eagles are working to remove all the counterfeit posters. But I'm throwing the Eagles under the bus for doing that. Keep those posters up. I want to keep those posters up. Can you imagine if we had pro teams supporting these candidates?
Please let's never go.
I can't wait for Trump to be endorsed by the New Jersey Generals.
Boy, wouldn't that be interesting though if you had an allegiance? I mean, we're all fans of teams, and if your team endorsed the other candidate, is that enough to make you quit your fandom or quit the candidate?
Maybe both. Maybe both. Hey,
All
Curry,
right.
Curry, the number one, Jessica, just got upset, number one seed.
Yeah, let's talk tennis.
Pagula beat her, right?
Yeah.
Beat Swiatek. Yeah.
Yes.
We're talking on a Wednesday night here, so.
So we get two. So we get two Americans in the semi there too, right?
Yes.
Well, Pegula is going to play
Navarro?
the girl from Charleston. Well,
Emma.
no,
Emma Navarro.
no, I don't think they're going to play. I think if they have to meet in the finals.
Oh, they're
But
on the opposite side.
if they do, it'd be $2 billion babies. You know,
That's right. How about that? That's pretty
'cause,
cool. Hey, I have a great.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I have a great answer to a sports question with my wife. She was sitting in the other room, and I heard the U.S. Open was on the TV, and she really watches sports. So I was kind of excited that she was watching. So I said, "Ka, who's playing?" And she said, "Two girls." And I go, "Well, who's winning?" "One of them."
Good job, Karen.
That's kind of how Curry used to start some of his features in Sports Illustrated, wasn't it?
Right.
These two girls were playing, and one of them was winning.
Good job, Karen.
I got a kick out of that. Oh, Lord.
Well, if you want to talk about the girls first, I guess the big story, of course, in the middle of the week was Coco Choco,
Yeah.
19 double faults against our girl Emma Navarro, the girl from Charleston, who now is going on to the semis with Pegula. And her father is a billionaire,
Right.
owns most of downtown Charleston, and she'll play against Pegula, whose father owns the Buffalo Bills. So it really is. It's $2 billion babies we got to the semifinals. But in the match, Coco Gauff, 19 double faults. That's unheard of in 3 sets and 11 in the final set. That's 2 a game. So she's giving Navarro 2 points a game in the last set.
And she only had 14 winners, right? So she had more double faults than winners.
It was hard to watch. It was painful. And the thing is, I want to throw under the bus her coach, Brad Gilbert, who, is the TV announcer as well, broadcaster as well. You can coach your players. I didn't hear him out there talking to her, getting her over there and telling, look, he said, just flip the second serve in, just get it in.
Right.
Don't, she kept smashing it, trying to, get the serve in. But if she can't do that, she should just flip it in there.
Yeah.
And, then he came, this is amazing. He came on the set after the match, and his girl, Coco, has been upset with 19 double faults. And Renee Stubbs, a female announcer who's also an analyst, is they're talking to Renee and Brad Gilbert. Brad Gilbert never mentioned the 19 double faults. He talked about motivation and mindset and all this. What are you talking about? You're the coach. That's a coachable feature, serving, really. You slow your form down, you take some more time, you do this and that, and he never mentioned it. I thought, oh, wow. Yeah. So that's an under the bus to Brad.
All right.
Meanwhile, on the guys' side, I'm just learning BVZ's name, and after beating Alcaraz, he goes down, and we've got 2 Americans in the semifinals for the first time since Curry had a whole lot more hair.
Yeah, 20 years, right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Fritz, yeah. Big foe, Francis Tiafoe won. Got in, and he'll play his friend Taylor Fritz, who's the Brad Pitt of tennis. This guy should be a movie star. Should leave the tour immediately. But they are playing in the semis on Friday. But I think this tournament will be most remembered for the upsets of successive nights of Alcaraz and Djokovic. And Alcaraz is beaten by this guy, as you said, BVT. His name is Botic van de Zandschulp. That sounds like some guy out of a Mel Brooks movie, Army movie spoof.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
Yeah. Colonel Stevens, General von Schloop is ready to see you now. This guy's never been heard of. Seriously, he was
his record. He's got a terrible record, doesn't he?
He was 11-19 going into the Open, and he was thinking about retiring. Like his friend said, he was thinking about retiring a couple weeks before the Open, and there he goes and he beats Alcaraz. So he fades out though in the next round. He's gone. He didn't even know what he's doing. He's playing I think it was Patrick McEnroe that said Van de Schlump looked like he was comatose. Some of the pundits, he was like he didn't know what he was doing, just staying out there. But I think, I said last week, and both Alcaraz and Djokovic mentioned this, and Djokovic was beaten by a pretty good guy, a young Australian named Paparin, who's really good, had won the Canadian Open. So, I mean, it's an upset, but both of them, Alcaraz and Djokovic, pointed to the Olympics as being, it was a month ago, it's a long time.
Right.
But they played, as I told you, they played the match of the decade in that finals. And they just went, two tie breaks that either of them could have won. And it was so emotional. Alcaraz went into the stands crying with his daughter. Meanwhile, Djokovic did that. Alcaraz is sitting on his side just weeping. And I really think it took something out of them emotionally and motivational wise. They came to the Open and they were just flat, and they looked it and they sounded like it afterwards.
Yeah.
Curry, this is the first time that not only none of the big three have not won a major, but it's the first time since 2002 or 3 or whatever that they haven't won at least 2 of the 4. Are they done? Is that era over?
Yeah, I think so. Federer came to the match last night, and they shot him almost as much as they shot the players. They shot him in the stands, Roger Federer. I think for the most part, I think Nadal is finished. I don't think he's going to play anymore. And Alcaraz, Novak is really, I think he wants to stick around and get a couple more majors and put that record out so far. But I don't know. He's got so many of these young players who can deny him that. So can I point out one thing that my sort of background goes to this? Everybody was mentioning this upset by Van der Schlump over Alcaraz was one of the greatest upsets in history. And I really agree with that, because I was trying to think of all the years I covered tennis and way back before that. There weren't as many just upsets by a guy nobody heard of.
Yeah.
The number 1 or number 2 player in the world. I go back to in the 75 Wimbledon final, Arthur Ashe upset Jimmy Connors, but those both guys were at the top of the list.
Sure.
And so, that was an upset, but not the great Pete Sampras was beaten by a guy named Richard Krajicek at Wimbledon. Mm-hmm. In the middle of Sampras's run. He would have won 9 Wimbledons in a row, except he got beat by Krajicek. But Krajicek, and that was early in the tournament, but Krajicek went on to win the tournament. So we're not talking about bozos here.
Right.
My candidate for that is Boris Becker. Boris Becker won 3 times before he was 21. Won Wimbledon 3 times before he was 21. But in '87, as a 2-time defending champion, he lost to a guy, and I was there, named Peter Duhan, who was this gangly Australian ranked in the 70s. He was the ultimate journeyman. Duhan was staying in a YMCA in downtown London, I remember. And for a couple of days, he was like a hero in Australia, a hero in Wimbledon. They named him the Becker Wrecker. And, he never did anything after that. He didn't win another Wimbledon match. And, I don't even remember hearing about him. But they kept in touch, apparently, Becker and Duhan. Duhan died at 56 of Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, wow.
And it was 30 years to the day after he beat Becker at Wimbledon. And on that day, Becker posted online a message to Duhan, and he said, "R.I.P. mate, you were the better player," which is an unbelievable thing to, this guy that had just died, and Becker remembers that match, and everybody does. Can I just say one other thing? People ask me all the time about your favorite guy to cover, your favorite player in all sports, and who is the best and who is the nicest and all that. If you measure character, which I sort of have, on how a player reacts to losing, this is Rich. This is in basketball, in football, and baseball, and tennis, even in the the individual sports tennis go. The best guy after a loss I ever knew was Boris Becker.
Oh,
He always gave credit to the winner. He never, had excuses. I mean, even if he played bad, he was just terrific sportsman, which is, he was just terrific to cover. I got pretty close to him, and which is amazing because, now in his after tennis life has been so chaotic with,
right.
bankruptcy and sexual abuse charges. And I
Did
would
he
never
spend
have
some
thought
time in
that.
prison, Curry?
Yeah,
Was he? He did.
yes, in Germany, where he's a national hero, and
Yeah.
they put him in jail for tax evasion.
Hmm.
So, but back in the day, I still think of Boris Becker as a 17-year-old big kid flopping around the grass at Wimbledon, getting all these great points and winning the thing at 17. It's unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
Was he every bit as good as a player as the three we're talking about now, or Sampras,
Well,
just in a shorter span of time? I mean, at his peak, was he as good?
Well, I think I've said this in the past, but tennis people always judge players, who would have won on their best day, who was the best players on their best day. And I think Becker at his best, which was, he blew two other Wimbledons. He should have won about five or six. And he blew in the finals. He lost to Edberg, who's a great player, but he should have won. But I would put him in the peak of his playing career. He was as good as these big three, and so were other people. Sampras, Sampras certainly was, I think. Bjorn Borg was.
Right. Yeah. Good.
He won what did he win? Like 7 French Opens. So at the top of their games, these guys were, I think they could have played, against the big three that we talk about now.
Mm-hmm.
Who wins? We're this is going to be old by the time it happens. Who wins though the big match? Tiafoe and Fritz.
I got Fritz real close in that because of his serve, but okay. I got Sinner, the Italian, winning the whole thing.
Okay,
he's awful good.
All right, let's take another break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little baseball. We'll talk about the richest guy in golf and how his great season isn't really as spectacular as it might seem. We'll come back with that as we throw somebody under the bus. Welcome back to Under the Bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks on Hilton Head Island, hudsonsonthedocks.com. Google it wherever you are in this wide world of ours, and you'll get a feeling for how great it is, and then go see it and enjoy it. Baseball season. It's September, Rich. Time to get excited. It's baseball season.
How can I get excited with the Yankees bullpen? How do you get excited with
that?
Watching them. Curry's Cardinals just crushed us the other night because of our bullpen. Then last night they get a grand slam home run walk-off. They lose again. Holmes pitching. That's his 11th blown save. Do you think Aaron Boone's going to wake up one day and figure that out, that he's not his closer anymore? How long is it going to take?
Did you see his facial expressions when that closer came in and they showed him the pitch before the grand slam pitch? The pitch was
he hiding his eyes?
Terrible pitch, and they went quickly to Boone, and Boone was looking up in the sky like, how do I have this guy in? And sure enough, the next pitch, grand slam walk off.
Why does he take him out when you put him in
Boone
there?
Saw it coming. Boone saw it coming.
You see how he's pitching. You know he doesn't have his stuff. Get him out of there. Why do they keep him in there? I don't understand that.
Because they don't have anybody better.
Well, at least try somebody. I mean, when you have 11 blown saves, in most teams, if you have 11, once you get 5 blown saves, you're no longer the closer. But the Yankees keep them there forever.
Hey, I'm curious
not going to win
watch.
It because of that. Their bullpen is letting them down. It's terrible.
I'm curious to watch this weekend. The Guardians go to L.A. to play the Dodgers. Did you see Shohei maybe even better than anything he's done at bat. Did you see he and his dog and the first pitch?
Decoy.
Boy, the dog Decoy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. He put him out on the mound, and then Shohei went back to catch. And the pitcher's Decoy, the dog, threw out the first pitch by running the home plate and dropping it into Shohei's glove. It was great. It was one of the great, terrific. But I have a under the bus. It was bobble night. It was Shohei bobble night. And by the way, after the dog threw out the first pitch, Shohei homered the first at bat.
Right. Yeah. Well, then he goes and does that. I mean how amazing is that? Yeah.
But the underdog, let me say, it was bobble night.
Yeah.
Shohei bobble night, but they didn't have a bobble for the dog. They should have had the dog on bubble.
Oh no. The dog was in. He and Shohei and the dog were in. Both had bobble in the same bobblehead.
Wow. Should have had separate ones.
Dog should get his own bobblehead
exactly.
night. Yeah.
Exactly. Of course.
They had thousands of people out front before the game. They showed the lines of people trying to get in to get their Shohei and Decoy bobblehead. And that was the bobblehead. The dog had his head bobbling just like Shohei.
Go on eBay right now and see how much that is going for. It's probably a ridiculous amount of money.
I bet that is a number.
So from the richest baseball player in history, we've got the richest golfer. Who you got, Bob? You wanted to bring that up?
Scottie Scheffler won $62 million this year, like $35 million of it this past weekend. What I think is interesting, I mean, and that just his caddy, by the way, this weekend, if he paid him the 10% of the $35 million he won almost as much, won more money than Arnold Palmer did in his entire career.
Wow!
And he did it in a weekend. Won almost as much as Jack won in his career. The curious thing is, because this also happened this week. Okay, Scheffler wins $62 million. Steph Curry signed a 1-year extension on his contract in the NBA for $62 million.
Magic figure.
Magic, yeah. Apparently, it's a magic number, and Steph Curry, Steph Curry's wonderful. Plays basketball, great. But he's got to work the whole year. Scheffler did it in a little less. Although now golf is going to have a great controversy. This will give us something to talk about in December, because on this Wednesday, it was announced that Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy are going to play that nighttime match thing that they do in the offseason.
Yeah, they did that
against Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau, live against the PGA Tour.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, it could be worth watching.
That'd be fun
could
to
be
watch.
Good stuff.
Sure.
Anybody want to throw under the bus?
Yeah, can I do a quick under the bus?
Sure.
Let's go back to college football.
Yep.
The NCAA has put in this new rule this year. I'd like you guys to explain to me. It's a new two extra 2-minute timeout at the end of the game that either team has, right?
Well, it's the 2-minute warning.
Well, no,
they just never did it in college football before.
Right.
Oh, this is the pro thing that's coming to college?
Yes.
Well, is
one more pro thing coming to college? Yes.
Is that a random 2-minute that the team can use anytime they want it?
No.
2 minutes left.
Right at 2 minutes, we'll give or take a second for the play to end. They're going to stop the game, take another break, and it's like giving them another timeout.
It's more commercials, more money,
and make the game go a little longer. That's always good.
Yes.
I see. Well, they explained it. They weren't explaining it very well in the college announcers, because they were calling it an extra 2-minute timeout. That's not what it is it?
That's because the NCAA, and this is the reason to throw them under the bus, they don't want to call it the 2-minute warning. They want to call it the 2-minute timeout.
Got it.
Oh,
well, it fooled me.
Unbelievable. Well, and if it fooled you, then they accomplished what they wanted to do.
Exactly.
Fool Curry.
All right, Bob,
Rich,
I have somebody to throw under the bus.
Yep.
Stephen A. Smith. So he talked about Judge and his success because Judge hits in front of Soto. That's not true. Soto hits in front of Judge. Here's his quote. Listen to this. I have to read it here. This is his quote. But you do got Soto batting behind you. They got to pitch to the brother. You understand what I'm saying, because you got Soto waiting in the wings. How much research do these guys do? Soto's batted second the whole season. Judge's bats third. This knucklehead puts Judge second and Soto third and gives credit to Soto because he's batting behind Judge. And that's why Judge has done so well this year.
Well,
Rich, he doesn't
Rich,
understand
if we put Stephen A. Smith under the bus for everything he says every day, we'd have to get a whole bus line. So I think he's totally out of bounds because he's ridiculous, you know.
Now he could argue that part of Soto's success is hitting in front of Judge.
Correct. That's correct.
You know.
But he was giving all the success, the credit to Soto because that's why Judge was doing so well.
We got it, Rich.
Which actually comes full circle. You finished the show with Stephen A. Smith. We began it with hot dogs.
There you go.
Perfect.
Wieners.
We have tied it all together. Any final thoughts? Or are we done?
A lot of wieners. Wiener to wiener.
He's a weenie eater for sure. Hey,
let's close the show. We'll save some more for next week. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We want to thank, of course, Justin Jarrett, our executive producer, the folks who are usually helping us out, Trey and Mahogany at the USC Beaufort. And we want to thank Hudson's on the Docks. Again, hudsonsonthedocks.com. Go there and plan a great trip to Hilton Head Island to join them. For Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico, I'm Bob Stevens. Come join us again next week when we're going to throw some more people under the bus.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care.
Thank you.
Under the Bus is a production of the Loco Media Network and is filmed on the Hilton Head Island campus of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. The executive producer is Justin Jarrett, with assistance from Trey Ramsey, Mahogany Hickman, and Adam Carroll.